Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome back to the OWLS Racing League here for round 7 of Season 7. That's right, we are nearing the latter stages of the season. 4 rounds to go here tonight. And we are heading over to Silverstone for what should be a very chaotic race. If you did see the real-life race that has just happened only a couple of minutes ago, well, I say that about half hour ago it concluded. I won't give away any spoilers if you have not watched it, but it was a very chaotic one. Hopefully, it's another chaotic one here this evening. So, of course, we are here at Silverstone. The championship is well and truly back on the cards for Pusan. HB Cook still does lead the way, but the drivers are just getting ready to load into the session. So we will now quickly take a quick peek at the standings, and as I mentioned, it is Cook who still leads the way, but a big swing back into Pusan's favour of 15 points last time out. That it's 17 points, that gap at the very top of the field. Then it's a whole 36 points back to Liam behind. He's on 69 points. Then Joker is on 7 points in 4th place. He's 2 behind Liam. Then it's Snoop Panda, who is in 5th, and Ben, who rounds out the top 6. Very, very close indeed when it comes to that battle for 3rd place. Then it's Andy, then it's George, Ericsson, Swaggy, Alvar, Shefton, Liam Beard, Sprint, Waypack, and Massive. Who's the top 16 in the championship, of course, with George. He's only done 1 race and he's in that 8th place. That was a win in Hungary. And we should have had back-to-back debutant race winners with DJ CJ also in that one. But both him and George are back here this evening. So it should be quite an eventful one indeed. And the drivers have just loaded in the lobby. I have just seen the weather now as well. And let me tell you, it does not disappoint here at Silverstone. That's right. As we head trackside now, it is a wet weather qualifying session. That's right. So this means that everything is going to be shaken up a lot more. And one driver we know is very quick in the wet is the McLaren of George. Be interesting to know if it's raining in the race as well. But at least for qualifying, we are in those wet weather conditions. It's not enough to really cause too much of an issue on the circuit. Of course, we are still on the inside. They will be quicker, but it's not too heavy. It's not like we have a thick, slick coat over the circuit, because you can still see the raindrops hitting onto the track. So it could get worse and progress over time. So these first laps could very much be crucial in this session. And how bad this rain really does get. First driver out will be Agent on a lap. Of course, drivers will fill up their cars with multiple laps of fuel. Intermediates do not degrade much. They give you plenty of grip and performance over a majority of laps, and especially over a qualifying format. You can at least do 5 very quick and consistent lap times on the tyre before they really start to fall off in pace. Drivers will fill themselves up to constantly keep going and going. Get more pace out of the car. Of course, they will do push, call, push to recharge the battery. But you can just see how slick those conditions are with Agent as he's about to start the first lap of the evening, sliding his way through Club Corner. So as we make our way through Abbey and now into Farm Curve before late braking into Village. It's down to 3rd gear, hits that inside apex curve, but has to correct out of the corner. Now brings the car back round for the loop as we now head into Aintree. Over that inside curve, runs wide, another big snap as he's putting the power down. As we head down now into Brooklyn Corner, down to 3rd gear, slowly bring the car through. The rear of the car constantly just wanting to step out on you, especially here on the exit of Luffield, because you're in such a low gear, so much torque heading to those rear tyres. Agent still managed to keep it on the road and still managed to keep it clean. The likes of Joker now on laps as well as Agent runs wide, somehow keeps the lap valid. See what Agent can deliver, what the benchmark will be. Of course, Rain, the great equaliser here in racing. Not too far behind, as I did mention, is Joker. He's pushing on a lap. So is potentially Newt Panda, I believe. So for Agent through Stowe, runs wide. Still somehow the lap is valid. As we make our way through. Final couple of corners to Bell Chicane and then into Club across the line. It will be, and it's a 141.6 is the benchmark. Yari now to the line, and it's a 138.7 from Yari. Here comes Joker. What's it going to be from him? Only a 1 minute 40.0. Sprint into second of 39.8. No one close enough to Yari's time thus far. Of course, Yari was quite quick at Hungary as well. He was another one of the debutants there. Just was not able to get the consistency overall. George has come into pit lane and retired. He's going to try to do another last of first challenge. Maybe here this evening. Newt Panda to second with a 39.3. Massive is on the lap. So is Swaggy as well. Further around, Massive is. So is BJ Riley as he's making his way through the final couple of corners. I think we have another couple of debutants here this evening as well. The likes of Will Smooth and Websy. Now make our way through final corner here for BJ Riley. Where does he go? 8th fastest, splitting the two Red Bulls of Liam Bearder and Thames. What about Mr. DJ CJ, who of course stole the show last time out at Azerbaijan? Will Smooth now goes fastest of all by 7/10 of a second. CJ unfortunately invalidates his attempt, and that's going to be his lap over and done with. But of course, as I mentioned, drivers going to be setting themselves up for multiple runs. Puzan has just started his first attempt, so let's go on board with the man second in the championship. Last week's race winner after CJ's accident at turn 3. What can the Kick Sauber deliver? He now makes his way through Aintree and down the Wellington Straight. So as he makes his way now through Luffield. Makes his way up the National Pit Straight into Cobb's Corner. There is a slight elevation change here into Cobb's. Of course, in the dry would be flat, but a slight lift off the throttle, down a couple of gears. Makes his way through that right-hander quite nicely, does Puzan now. Through Maggots, Beckett, and then into Chapel. Down to 5th gear, slowly bring that power back on. Don't want to loop the rear end out of there as you put your foot back down. 11.3 in that middle sector there from Puzan, tracking around about that Liam, the Yari kind of lap time at the moment, as he now makes his way through Stowe. And now out of the final chicane. Here is Puzan across the line. How have the track conditions been? And it's second fast. It's a 38.4. They're not deteriorating that quickly. But crucially, what is Cook doing? And he's up on Puzan in that middle sector by a few tenths of a second. So he can now put himself onto the front row of the grid. The championship leader who really needs to bounce back after a disappointing Baku. Here he comes then, up to the line for Cook. What's it going to be? Third fastest, just misses out on that front row by 0.2 of a second. And for HB Cook, it's only good enough for the second row thus far. But of course, a lot of these drivers now either coming into pit lane to put on the fresh set of boots, or still out, try to find some lap time. As I say, try to find some lap time. Joker now to the top of the pile, but not by much. Only 0.06 of a second separate him from Will Smooth, as he now takes that top spot in that first place. It's a Kick Sauber 1-3 at the moment. Of course, on the reverse layout, Joker won last season. Now on the forwards layout, looking to shape up for pole position. Big snap there for Yari, who had don't think it's really on that. Websil now to the top. So Websy now up to the very top of the times, only by 5,000. So it's ridiculously close at the top. It is super fine margins separating that top three. But it's now the other debutant who takes that top spot away. Instantly followed by Pusan, and then instantly followed by Will with 37.3 from the Williams. Is Cook pushing on a lap? No, he's aborted this one. He's going to gear up to go again now. But for Will Smooth, we thought it was Websy taking the show with that 1 minute 38.028. Then Pusan went to the very top by about 0.2 of a second, and then Will went a whole half a second clearer of Pusan, literally a few seconds afterwards. And now the Williams claims that top spot. Cook now going to be pushing on his next attempt. The rain certainly seeming to be easing, the track drying up ever so slightly, and that's where we could see these times really start to tumble. Needs to find a second if he wants to take pole position away, but will need to find at least 0.8 per second if he wants to match Pusan. So what we're looking like in the first sector here with HB Cook, it's 0.3 to the good. So can he keep up this rate of improvement? Snatch that pole position away? We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed here for Cook. Needing a good weekend, needing a good evening to bounce back after his first non-podium finish of the season in Baku. Been on superb consistency all season long. Now for Cook, looking to return to the roster as he now makes his way through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel on this next tour. In the middle sector, up by 0.7 of a second. And now into the Vale chicane, crucially needs to get this right. And now into the final corner, the club corner. Is it going to be enough to displace Will? Across the line he goes. No, but it's good enough for the front row of the grid. 0.3 clear of Pusan. And crucially here, it has stopped raining. We could get slicks at the end of this session here, and we are seeing drivers line up the slick compounder tyres, most notably BJ Riley and Liam. So, changeable conditions here in qualifying, and we could still see some slick tyre running as Websy is now up by 0.3 of a second in the first sector. As Ben moves his way up into fourth, the track will still be slightly damp, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some drivers make their way onto that Red Bull soft compounded tyre at the end of this session. Websy now making his way through the final, through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. There an improvement in the middle sector from the Mercedes car. Yes, there is 1.4 seconds of an improvement. This will absolutely smash Will Smooth's time at this current rate of improvement and this current rate of knots. And as he makes his way through Stowe and into the Vale chicane, of course, we'll have time to come back into pit lane. And now through that final chicane we go. Has Websy done enough to snatch it away from Will? We'll have those tyres overheated at the wrong time at the end. Across the line we go. A 36.5. 1.5 seconds found. But what about his teammate CJ up to the line? A big snap through the final corner. And even with that, he now goes fastest of all. It's a Silver Arrows Mercedes 1-2 at the top of the pile. And it's DJ CJ only just slow by 65 thousandths of a second. Takes it away from Websy. But are we going to see anyone be brave enough to come out on those slicks at this current stage? We can see a lot of drivers now shaping up for that slick compounder tyre. The question is, will the track get dry enough? Ben pushing on a lap. No, he is not. He is in front of Joker though. Swaggy is pushing on, but he's 0.7 down in the first sector. So I'll tell you what Joker can do. 1.5 second improvement from Websy, instantly beaten by CJ. And we do have our first driver onto the slicks. We'll quickly cut off Joker's lap. See Muse out onto the circuit. Currently slowest of all of the drivers on the intermediates. Is there enough grip on those slicks? Potentially have an opportunity to take things away here at the top of the pile, as Joker is up by 7/10 of a second in that first sector. He's certainly going to be rivaling the two Silver Arrows at the top of the pile, but if the slicks do become the favoured tyre, all these laps will be for nothing, as Yari now goes to the top of 35 to 3.4 seconds found on the intermediates. We are certainly getting closer and closer to slick tyre territory. His sprint's improving. He's up by a second in the first sector. His sprint. Ben was only up by 2 tenths. He's just had a big moment through the Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel section. Joker up by 1.8 seconds. Could he now rival Yari in the final part of the lap? Thames has now come out on the soft compounder tyres. Hopefully Ben gets out of Joker's way. Doesn't want to impede here. And no, actually Joker coming into the pit lane. Does this mean we're starting to see those softs be the one you want to be on? The first driver, the test dummy, will be mused. Still see the rear of the car really sliding out. What do these drivers elect to do? Nothing mused as he makes his way through that first corner. Not flat just yet on those slicks. Of course, probably did fill the car up for a few runs. Yari's retires. Yari's crashed on the circuit. Hopefully, if we go on board with Thames, we can see what has happened here. We just can't get it on board. Well, a man that's currently on provisional pole might then start last if those slicks do come to be the favoured tyre. And look at that from Used. 1.8 seconds up on his previous best on the soft compounder tyres. Drivers will be flurrying out the pit lane in a few moments' time. Swaggy now out onto the road. This is going to be a very chaotic end to the session. Let's muse through Cops. A big slide. And that's derailed that lap. That was a huge moment through Cops. I think it's still a bit sketchy in some places, but you make up more than enough time everywhere else. I say that Sames now with a slide through Village. Oh, this is very sketchy. Very sketchy indeed. Have these drivers made the right choice to go onto the slicks? Or were the intermediates still the one you want to be on? Agent's now started a lap. He's in 12th place in front of Newt Panda. But I don't think did another lap after his original attempt. And of course track conditions did get better as the session has gone on. Some of these drivers might still struggle to make it to the line. And for Agent, he might have some traffic on his lap as well. Just look at the amount of cars that are in front of him here on the track map. Oh, and he's gone really wide through Luffield and a big slide as well. Oh, and he runs wide and does invalidate the lap. So that's killed off his lap before it really begun. Let's have a look at Swaggy, one of the front runners in this session so far. Into turn 1. Does keep it pinned. A slight rotation from the rear end. And it's nice through Village as well. Sorry, Farm Curve and into Village. How's the traction looking coming out of the loop? How much has he found in that first sector? A nice exit, actually. A good drive out of that loop. I think the track might just be drying into the favour. And it could just be a case of who crosses the line last. But look at that gaggle of cars heading into the Vale chicane. Some of those might not even make it to the line. Sorry, Swaggy. We're going to quickly come off your onboard to look at the likes of HB Cook. Can Cook, the reigning champion and championship leader, even make it to the line in time? Look at the gaggle of cars, the mess of cars in front of him. He will just make it to the line, but with masses of traffic just in front of him. It was Will who had a moment out of the final corner, and Websy doesn't make it to the line. Websy has not made it to the line, the only driver not to, as CJ with a big moment. So Swaggy, or even the likes of the Alpine there of Liam, I think it is. No, Liam's off it into the wall. The 18 to second fastest. We could have a really mixed up grid here this evening. Puzan has got some cleared track, so he could still take pole position. Swaggy is 2.1 seconds up. This will not be enough at this current rate to to take pole position away from Yari, I don't believe. I think it's a 35.2 for Yari, so it's all about this exit at the final corner. Has Swaggy done enough to take it away from the V-Carb? No! Yari's still on pole, and he might not even be able to finish off the session. This is drama all the way to the very end. You want to watch every driver come across the line here. Massive to 9th. Riley offered into the pit lane. The A team could still get a top 5 finish here in this session thus far. And what about Putan? As Riley invalidates his lap, Putan's up by 2.1, and even then for him, he's invalidated. Putan has invalidated. It's all kicking off here, and unfortunately for a lot of these drivers, it might not even be enough to snatch it away from Yari at the dying stages. Yari, who crashed on the track, might still be able to hold on. Across the line goes Liam Bearder. He's up into 3rd place. Here comes Cook to the line. Sprint to the top. Here comes Cook. He then takes it away. Will to 3rd. And the reigning champion might have just got it in the most dramatic circumstances possible. It's HB Cook who takes pole position here in Silverstone. The reigning champion, the championship leader, gets it done when he needs to the most. And oh boy, even with the sheer amount of traffic in front of him, it did not stop the charge of the Aston Martin. Everybody else nearly failed and faltered against Yari. Only 5 drivers beat the Belgium in the V-Carb, but it is HB Cook who takes pole from Sprint, who gets his first pole position of the season, followed then by Will Smooth, Joker, and Newt Panda. And then it's Yari, Swaggy, Liam Bearder, A-Team, and CJ rounding out the top 10. And it's Websy, Agent, Pussant down in 13th. That's drama for his championship chances. Massive Ben, and I couldn't see the rest of the field. But that was a dramatic end to qualifying. And oh boy, did Cook deliver when he needed to bounce back. When he needed to the most. After Baku, where Pussant took a healthy chunk out of his championship lead. He has fought back extraordinarily and has taken that top spot here for the race. And with a very mixed up grid, he certainly could dominate this one here this evening. So let's have a look at your pre-race info at the track that we're at tonight. And also you can see it is dry for now at the start of this race. But let's run you through Silverstone quickly, of course. A historic venue, 5.891 kilometers or 3.660 miles with 18 turns making up this historic facility on an old RAF base. Of course, you have 2 DRS zones down the Wellington and Hangar Straight between Aintree and Brooklands, and in between, of course, Chapel and Stowe. And plenty of overtaking opportunities. Everywhere on the circuit you can try and overtake. You can run side by side with one another, even through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, if you're feeling brave, and through Cops as well. But it is a very historic venue, always puts up great racing in real life and in the game. And of course, last time out we had a great race when we came here for the reverse layout last season. Hopefully on the forward layout we have another great race. If qualifying was anything to go by, this certainly could be a chaotic one. Head back track side. At the perfect moment. It's Cook and Sprint on the front row of the grid. It's 5 red lights here in Silverstone. And we're on the way for the British Grand Prix. It's a good start from the Aston Martin. And Sprint does not have a reply into that first corner, or does he? Keeps a nose to the inside line, forces Cook to go the long way around. But he's still going to hold his nose to the inside as he gets into the race lead. Sprint leads here in Silverstone. It's 3 wide just behind with Will Smooth, New Panda and Joker. And also Swaggy getting involved. He's passed 2 corners on the exit of the loop, 2 cars on the exit of the loop, as he now makes his way behind his teammate for that third place for now. Is he going to look for a lunge into Brooklands? No, he is not. But Sprint with a brilliant start from the front row of the grid from Cook. But Cook is on that hard compounder tyre. He is on the alternate strategy in this one. Some drivers on the soft, some on the mediums, the others on the hards. Joker has had an abysmal start. He's now down to 7th place and under pressure from Yari as they're now squabbling side by side into Cop's corner. It is Yari who comes out on top there. Liam Bearder is trying to look for a move in, not only on Websy, but also onto the A-team as well. Of course, the shaped up grid means there's a lot of drivers who are in very high positions to what they're used to. The likes of Sprint, he's had some appearances in the top 5. Has Sprint. Oh, that was a big moment for CJ, and that's put Puzan all across the grass, and that might allow not only George, but Agent through as well. George with an electric getaway. He's up to 20th from last, and Agent looking to the inside of Puzan, now under pressure from Ben just behind him. It's a frantic opening lap here as drivers are making move left, right, and centre, as Will's been able to get past Swaggy. That was Liam Bearder to the inside of CJ, and now also George might even try to make his way through. And the McLaren driver who started last at the beginning of this lap, even though he's on the soft, so it does give him a little bit of an advantage, is now up into 12th and now potentially looking at fighting his way into the top 10 by the end of lap 2, as we now see CJ and Liam Bearder squabbling just in front. George now trying to get the run out of the loop and be able to get past the Red Bull driver. There's contact. It's George across the ground. That's big slide from George. An impressive save after that contact. Liam Bearder will defend the inside. There's more contact between the pair as they run side by side now through Brooklands, and up into Luffield we'll go. Is it going to be the McLaren who comes out on top, or will it be the Red Bull? It looks like it's going to be the McLaren who just is able to streak clear, and he's up into 11th place now. We'll hunt down CJ in front. The A-team's lost DRS to the top 7 in front of him, and for Puzan, he's now past Liam Bearder into Cops, and now we'll all settle into a rhythm, you would think, with some moves still to be made. But for Sprint at the front of the field, he has certainly had a brilliant getaway. His Agent cuts all the way across Maggots there, as Massive has been able to get through and up into 18th. It's Thames at the bottom of the field. Websy able to get past the A-team thanks to having that DRS. And at the front of the field, Cook now looking to the inside of Sprint into the Vale chicane. Can he pull this move off? Not for now, and we'll try the up and under. Out of the chicane we go. They're going to drag all the way down into Aintree, of course, Abbey, through Farm Curve and into Village. And could we see a lunge there from the Aston Martin? In the background, George was able to get past on CJ, and no move being made from Cook just yet. Will Smooth might still be able to get a move done onto Nuke Panda in a matter of corners, and from Puzan, he's not been able to break into that top 10 just yet. So at the moment for Puzan, been a disastrous opening 3 laps. He has gained a place, but it's still not good enough for now. As here comes Cook to the outside of Sprint as we head into Brooklands. Hards versus mediums here. Who's going to come out on top? The mediums will have the better traction out of the corners, but those hards will surely become better in a few laps' time. And Cook would love to get by now and be in that position by the time the pendulum does swing into his favour to then start to pull away. But it still runs side by side right up into Cop's corner, and it is Cook who just streaks in front as Sprint runs off the road, and he's still going to try hold this one to the inside of the Aston Martin. And he's just not been able to hold on there and has to slot back into the train as Puzan has been able to get past CJ as he squeezes him all over the curb there at Maggots. And of course these two were battling for the race win last time out in Baku. They're now battling for 11th place on lap 3 of 26. That qualifying really did shake things up, and for Cook it has given him a brilliant opportunity to restore that championship lead, as Will has been able to get past Nuke Panda into Stowe. Potentially a mistake from the Ferrari driver. It has certainly been 3 action-packed opening laps of the evening. So we'll see what will happen now. Agent picks up our first 3-second time penalty of the event. Heading down into Brooklands. Going to kick off in the next couple of corners. Liam Bearder has now been overtaken by his namesake Liam, as actually they're going to run side by side through Luffield now. The Alpine driver trying to hold it round the outside, but just isn't able to do so. Yari's able to make his way through onto Joker. Is he? They're side by side into Cop's corner. The V-Carb runs wide. That gives the Kicksauber the opportunity to do the good old switcheroo, the up and under, and he's just not able to put himself alongside enough to take that P6 back. And it is Yari, excuse me, who does move himself up into 6th. Swaggy Might not have picked up DRS there, and he's now going to be under pressure from the V car behind us. There goes Yari to the outside. Swaggy on the inside. Nothing that Swaggy could do, and Yari moved up into 5th place, just about a second behind Nuke Panda. Will Smooth is trying to hunt down Sprint in front, as now Joker not under pressure, only from Websy. It's also from George as well. Websy looking to the inside into Club Corner. They will run side by side. Isn't able to get a good launch though, and this will give George the opportunity to look to the inside into turn 1. A little lag spike there for Joker means that George gets past a pair of them into turn 1, and that's the McLaren up into 7th place now. Joker will try and look for a lunge. Puzan is into the top 10. He's past the 18. There's a yellow flag from Must, who has gone round at the first corner. Unusual place to go round by yourself, it seems, as Will Smooth's not able to get through. George is now under pressure from Joker as they run side by side into Brooklyn's, and it is Joker who's back in front of George. He's back into that 7th place. But crucially, these drivers have dropped 1.7 seconds away from Swaggy, and George will have another opportunity down into Stowe to get back through. And for Puzan, trying to hunt down Websy in front. Everywhere you look, there is certainly places to be found, places to be made, and drivers making moves. As into the pit lane does come George. George now in. He's going to get off those soft compounder tyres. The 18 picks up a 3-second time penalty. Of course, time penalty, very, very easy to get. CJ, he's actually just been overtaken by both the Liams. He's having an abysmal start to this one. Now down to 13th place. Not going his way at all. His Cook has broken a second from Sprint in front, and this is certainly when Will needs to get his move done. He needs to take that opportunity with both hands and make his way up into 3rd place. Not 3rd place, sorry, up into 2nd, and demote Sprint down to 3rd, and then try catch back up to HB Cook. But isn't able to do so just yet. Swaggy's dropped 7 seconds away from Yari. Joker is now back within DRS range of the 6th place Ferrari. Yari once again showing some great pace. Of course, showed great pace in Hungary, and just it went away in the sprint and the feature just due to the lack of experience with ABS, no ABS and traction control. And now Yari up into 4th place. Sprint squabbling here with Smooth as they make some contact through Stowe Corner. That Sprint off the road, and Will makes his way up into 2nd place. The Williams driver up now into the top 2 as Nuke Panda into the pit lane already on the medium compounder tyres, trying to take those hards a long way to the end. As George went onto a set of the mediums, he's trying a 2-stop strategy. Or could this mean there is some rain on the horizons? Nuke Panda onto a set of the hards. We'll see what he is able to deliver. Cook is 2 seconds clear now of Will, and Sprint hasn't really been dropped just yet. That gap's still 4 seconds between this pair. Sprint, try getting close enough. He's trying to scare Will offline by having a small look to the inside line. As we head into Maggots, Beckett, Chapel. It's 2.5 now, that gap between Quick and Smooth. I think those hards have certainly become that quicker tyre. Up into that race leader course. I said he wanted to get up into that race lead for when that pendulum swung, and he did it perfectly. Absolutely executed flawlessly as Websy. Now just been able to get past Swaggy. And this might allow Puzan to potentially get past on the Ferrari. Looks to the inside into the Vale chicane. That was a late move. Some contact between the pair. But Puzan is able to fight his way through. Up into 7th place now is the Kick Sauber. Ames picks up 3 seconds for track limits. And Sprint now out of DRS range from Will. This might give Yari an opportunity. Now get the run out of the corner. Open up that DRS down the Wellington straight. And look at that, just pulls to the inside and just breezes by the Haas driver, who actually still does try to hold it back. Yari wasn't as confident on the brakes and wasn't as late on the brakes as the yellow flag for Agent, as they still run side by side out of Luffield and now drag race all the way up into Cobb's corner. Yari is just still about there. He's going to look to the outside. He's going to try the up and under and Sprint. There's some slight contact on the entry of the corner. That dislodges Yari's run. And that means he sits behind once again. But surely, as we make our way down the hangar straight, V-Car will be able to make his way through. Of course, Yari very much to making that move down the hangar straight. We've seen it a couple times from the V-Car thus far. CJ's now been overtaken by BJ Riley. His race is really going from bad to worse. Now here comes Yari through here on Sprint, and is Joker going to try following through. Joker looked to the outside line, wasn't able to do anything there, but gets the run out of Stowe, and those hard tires working beautifully there for Joker, but Sprint does hold it back down the inside, but surely through the Vale chicane. Joker gets the exit, gets the momentum, and he's up into that lead, and no, there's contact! Joker with a slide, and that was sent him straight into Sprint, and Websey and Puzzant say thank you very much, and once again, Joker's horrid luck continues. It was a slide. Just by being a bit too eager on the throttle, Sprint straight into the side of him. I think there was damage for the Haas driver. Yes, you could see left front end plate damage for Sprint, who's driven beautifully so far. Yes, has lost places, but that's the faster drivers and faster cars. But he did drive so well up until that point. Sprint picking up front wing damage, had nowhere to go. Joker, he's now got to make up those places he has just lost. George, of course, is a man on a mission further back. Say that, look at that. To the inside line he goes on Thames. I'm going to make the move stick. He's up into 14th place now after making that early pit stop. See what he'll be able to pull off here. And how much he can pull back the time to the cars in front as Thames. There's a big snap just behind him. And will not be able to hang on to that DRS range as George is getting closer to Massive. And he's certainly going to be well within striking distance by the time we exit Chapel. Uh, 3 seconds once again for Thames, as here we see George all over the back of Massive. Oh, onto the grass goes George. So he makes a real hash of things there as Will comes into pit lane along with Sprint and Liam. They're going to come off those medium tyres now and move, of course, across to the hards, you would think, and try and get those to the end. And this is an undercut attempt here from Will. And how, of course, Cook won't respond just yet. Just how well of an undercut can he get? How quick will he be? As George has actually been able to undercut the Williams driver there. And so is Nuke Panda as well. So Nuke Panda up into a net second place at the moment. And he's now all over the back of Massive. So he might be able to move himself past the traffic in front of him. And it's George and Nuke Panda who now inherit that 1-2 in the net train. But of course, for George anyway, he still has to come in again. For Nuke Panda, he might have to, or can he get those hards to the end? Yellow flag in sector 3. That once again is for Agent. Agent actually now picks up 3 second time penalty, and Cook reacts instantly. That's a bit of a risky one there from Cook to already switch over to those medium compounder tyres. We've only seen drivers take them with Pussant so far. 10 laps in this race. I think he might have just got a little bit too inside his head there. Have to wait and see. And for HB Cook, he's come out behind George and behind Newt Panda, and Will is all over the back of him. I think Cook might have made a grave error here. And now, actually, Cook has just let Will through. That's a really confusing one there from Cook. Not sure what he's attempting here. Or even potentially some connection issues here for Cook, because that car to me seems very much in AI control. That is very much an AI there for Cook. Has there been a slight disconnection here for the reigning champion? Which might give Puzant some breathing room, actually. We'll check into Stowe. I'm not too sure. Has Cook maybe now just regained control of the car? I believe so. But that was a really, really confusing few moments there for HB Cook, letting Will through like that. But I do believe now he is back in control of that Aston Martin. Dropped a lot of time, and yes, you can really see that pace start to pick up once again. And he's got the DRS on the Williams, and he would love to get by nice and easy. Build that gap, use those mediums while he can. Just try and hold on near the end. But the longest we've seen these mediums be taken is 11 laps, so he's having a big ask here from these tyres. What is he going to be able to do on the end of this race? Yeah, as you can see, very different. Pro Maggots, Beckett's and Chappell's potentially just had to go into AI mode for some reason, or a disconnection from the wheel. Is that George back into pit lane? No, it's not. It's Liam Bearder coming into the pits, and he has now picked up a 10-second time penalty. Has unfortunately left the session as well, I believe. Thames now picks up a 3-second time penalty. Websey is all over the back of Yari. We've also got Cook behind Newt Panda, who of course is on one of those drivers at box 30. So this is full position. And is Cook going to be able to make his way through? Around the outside goes the Aston Martin against the Ferrari, and easy as you like makes his way up into that third place. Next on his list will be George. 4.3 seconds is that gap between the McLaren and the Aston Martin. How quickly will Will be able to get by onto Newt Panda as well? Of course, he's in the fight still, Newt Panda, for that third place in the driver's standings. They make their way through Maggots, Beckett's and Chappell. Newt Panda will have DRS, which will make things a little bit harder for Will here. And he's just nowhere near getting close enough as Joker comes into pit lane. This is around about the window. I'd expect those hard tyre runners to come into pit lane. So Cook, I think, did jump the gun ever so slightly as Yari able to hold on to the position against Websey. Around the outside stays the V-Carb. Websey has to just sit in that 7th place for now as they make their way down the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight for the 14th time in this race. As CJ picks up 10 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. A disastrous race for the Mercedes. Not gone his way at all. Unfortunately for him, after the highs, when it rains it does pour, because after the highs of Baku's, and it certainly was highs in Baku, it has gone very badly wrong. As Thames is now retired from the session as Websey to the inside of Yari He's able to make his way up into 5th place. Will now all over the back here of Nuke Panda. He's trying to fight his way back into contention against HB Cook. Of course, will have to take those mediums quite some time, and Will able to get through with the DRS. He's up into 3rd place now on the road. In that 2nd place at this stage, actually, because George will have to come in again. And Cook is into pit lane. George and Cook both into the pits. So it's a 2-stop here from HB Cook. And is he going on to another set of the mediums, just like George? I still don't understand this strategy call here from Cook. And no, it's another set of the hards. This is a really bamboozling strategy call here from Cook. And he might have just thrown away a brilliant opportunity extending his championship lead. And no, I think he's back in AI. Oh, just like we saw. Just like we saw back in Vegas for the season finale when Pusan had the disconnection. The AI cost him dear then. And here for Cook. The AI might have just cost him an opportunity. At a podium. A race victory even. And for HB Cook, it's gone away from him here tonight. And for the reigning champion, it is going to be a bigger slash in the gap between himself and Pusan, who now runs in 5th. And if things stay as they are, it will be 7 points, separating them with 3 to go. And this is the bad luck. This is the turn that we saw last season from Pusan, where, of course, Pusan's form started to crumble. He wasn't there. He wasn't able to capitalise on opportunities. He wasn't one of the fastest anymore. Things started to get away from him. After a very dominant start to the season, and now this season, it was a dominant start from Cook. He was 32 points clear heading into Baku last week. It got slashed to 17. It might be slashed to 7. Or even worse, it could crumble even further. Pusan could still potentially even take the championship lead here. Cook hasn't said anything in the chat either about any underlying issues. George has been able to get past there onto Swaggy. he's now going to try a hunt down sprint as well. He still has an opportunity for a good result in this race. And look how close he got to the back of the Haas car. Out of Chapel there, pushing him down the exit. And he's up into 7th place now. There's still hope for George, and also Joker as well. As Massive now takes the lead of... Massive now picks up a 3-second time penalty. And Will still holds on to that lead of the race. It's now Swaggy's able to get past Sprint, who comes into the pit lane himself. A lot of drivers doing 2 stops. Really the optimal strategy that you want around here. And Cook's fallen even further down the field. He's down to 14th. He's behind New Panda and BJ Riley. This is disastrous for the Aston Martin man. And look at that. There must be an issue here for Cook. Great pace at the start of the race. A very confusing strategy call. And now it's just lost all the pace in that machine. Driving very much in an AI manner. Now we see Puzam all over the back of Liam. He can set... Yari with a spin! Yari spins out of club! Somehow, I believe, keeps it out of the wall and does not pick up any front wing. No, does pick up front wing damage. Didn't keep it out of the wall. But Yari with a huge moment. And I think there might have just been a moment as well for Cook and Riley, as there's a yellow flag in the final sector, exactly where they were. And then now 5 seconds behind New Panda. Cook now in it. Oh, Cook in AI mode, not nearly, just took out BJ Riley. What's happening here is Cook allows Riley through. And it's all good away from HB Cook. This is disastrous. He's certainly in AI mode now. This is race. This could be championship ending. This could be championship deciding moments. Baku, it just would never. The pace was never there. As Pusan's able to make his way up into 3rd. At this current stage, it's 2 points. Heading into the final 3 rounds. It was never there in Baku for Cook. The pace just did not show like it did. For Pusan, who did take that race victory. And now, here in Silverstone, there are some monumental troubles for Cook. And he may now pick up his first non-point score of the season. And Pusan is licking his lips at this opportunity. Because if things still go his way, if he can climb up to 2nd, he'll take the championship lead. By a single point. A singular point. He'll take the championship lead by. As the 18 comes into pit lane, George was able to get past Joker. He's now up into 6th place. And Websy and Will are potentially going to get into their own battles. When we cross the line, there'll be 6 more laps to go here at Silverstone. BJ Riley picks up a 3-second time penalty. Websy now within DRS range. The only issue for Puzan, got to overcome a 3-second time deficit. To the car in front. Yari after that spin, we hold on to a points paying position at this stage, and George will not be able to pull off the last to first. It was a risky two-stop strategy. And he's going to get what looks to be a P5 finish here. Liam's done well to get back up into 4th, because of course at one stage he was down in 13th battling with Liam Bearder. He's now up into 4th. As that's Yari really running off the road. Of course, that front wing damage will really affect the front end rotation through these higher speed corners. DRS now open for the McLaren. And to the inside goes George. And through he goes into P5. That will be the highest. McLaren certainly does climb. But it's still been a valiant effort here by, of course, George from last up into P5. Certainly showing here great pace to deliver for the rest of the season. But at the front of the field, it is still the two debutants at the front. As Puzin's actually found half a second onto Websy and Will in front, so he could still have something to from the end of this one. But for Will and Websy, the two debutants, they certainly have delivered and shown they have some great pace. Big stat there from Websy, who does seem to have a bit more pace in that final sector. Puzan found an extra 2 tenths. That final part of the lap. DRS will, of course, now be open for the Mercedes with 4 more racing laps to go. A battle at the front of the field between two newcomers. George, of course, was the last newcomer to win. CJ nearly won as well. Of course, in Baku, we could have been talking if CJ did win about a three-peat of debutants winning here at Silverstone. But it will mean that 2 out of the last 3 races have been won by a newcomer that slow. Puzan does not catch up on him. This lap has not found the same rate of improvement. Only 2.1 seconds is now that gap with 3 to go. And for Websy, just is still not close enough for a move. Onto the Williams in front. Linus Stern at the front of the field. Gari picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's going to demote him further down the order. Let's check the penalties actually while we are on this stage. With 3 to go, it's 3 for Liam, Yari, and of course Must. It is 6 for BJ Riley, the A-team, and also Massive, who's overtaken by Ben. And Ben's now up into 14th place. Talk about Ben, he's got 13 seconds. The A-team's got 3. CJ, it's another disappointing race. He's got 16 seconds. 9 for the A-team and 10 for Lee Theatre. But back at the front of the field, we head to CJ's teammate of Websy. This going to be ladies righting their wrongs with a new debutant. CJ, of course, was not able to get it across the line. Will Websy be able to? But that gap between him and Puzant now down to 1.6. Puzant might be there on the final lap. He might be there on the final tour to make it a three-way scrap for the race victory. And if something happens to Websy in smooth, he could certainly take that race victory and take the championship lead alongside it. Of course, even one place gives him that championship lead. Actually, no, it won't, because, of course, Liam Beard has got 10 seconds, so Cook will be able to break into that top 10. He will still score a point. He will not go without a point here this evening as Websy runs all the way off the road, knows the final opportunities are really starting to crack down. The chance is really starting to dwindle. Puzant is just not there by enough, but for Websy, you need to go now. You need to be all over the back of Will into that final lap. Will he be able to deliver? Websy versus Will. Puzant will just not be there. Mercedes versus Williams. Of course, the last Mercedes race winner we had is Muse has retired on the final lap at Lovefield. The last Mercedes winner we had was last season. That was with Liam. Runs in P4 in this race, will finish in P5. If something's happened to Joker, I think Joker's gone round. Joker's gone off with a puncture. Joker, a front left puncher for the Kick Sauber. Disaster for him. And that means Cook is going to get a P9 finish. But at the front of the field, we look to Websy versus Will. And at this current stage, I just don't think Websy's got enough. I think Will might just have this one in the bag. It's all going to be about that run down the hanger straight. Websy's half a second behind. Heading now through Maggots, Beckett's, and then into Chapel. This is going to come all the way down to this final opportunity. Down the hanger straight, DRS and ERS. All of it will be burned. Heading down this back straight. And is it going to be enough? Can he get close enough for a lunge into Stowe? I just don't think he will. He might just fall short. And no, he's just not able to get there. And that will surely mean that your race winner here tonight will certainly be the Williams driver of Will, who here on his debut has not faltered under the pressure from fellow debutant Websy. It's been a very dominant drive, and the Williams driver capitalises on others' mistakes and takes the victory here in Silverstone. A perfect drive here from Will Smooth as he takes the top step of the podium with fine form. It may not have been the domination we saw from George a fortnight ago, but it certainly is an opportunity taken by both hands from another driver new to the division. And it's Will Smooth who takes that top spot from Websy in second. It's a debutant 1-2. And Puzant in third slices that championship lead down to only a few points at the top. That is certainly a perfect moment there for Puzant, with Cook only scoring 2 points, him scoring 15. That means it'll be 4 points separating the top 2 in the standings with 3 more rounds to go. As we wait for CJ to come to the line. End off the race. As there we go, across the line he comes. 17th him. So it is Will Smooth who wins here on debut, along with fellow debutant Websy. 1.2 in the end, covered the top 2. Then it was Puzan, followed by George, who did a spectacular last to fourth. Liam, who ends up in 5th, a brilliant drive from 16th. The top, it's from 2nd down to 5th. All started outside the top 10. Spectacular stuff there. The Newt Panda, who finished off in 6th. Swaggy, Yari, Cook, who had a very disappointing evening. Bearder, who rounds out the top 10. Oh, it's not Will Smooth's actually first race in the division. He has been here before, just not in the past couple of seasons. So, a brilliant win on return there from Will, actually. Sorry, Will, for saying that you were a debutant here this season. But, of course, well, it is your debut here this season. First race of the season. But for Sprint, BJ Riley, Massive Ben, the A-Team Joker, and DJ CJ, they round out your finishers, along with Muse, Thames, and Asian, who did not finish here tonight. But of course, as we look at driver of the day, I have to give that one to... It's very difficult. Very, very difficult indeed. I wish I could give it to quite a few drivers, because Will deserves it, Puzant deserves it, Websy deserves it. So... I'm going to give it to Will. He capitalised there on a lot of carnage, didn't crumble under the pressure, either from Websy behind. It certainly was he executed everything flawlessly, and it certainly was a spectacular drive. So Will Smooth will be my driver of the day here tonight. But before we head off, ladies and gentlemen, let's quickly run you through the final 3 rounds of the season. We are done with Europe. We are no longer going to be in the European stint of the championship. We're going to head over to the Middle East and Asia for a couple of rounds. It's Yas Marina and the Losail circuit in Qatar for rounds 8 and 9 before we make a trip over to the Shanghai International Circuit for round 10 of the season. A sprint race to end off the season. Going to be frantic indeed. They'll certainly have a spectacular race on our hands at Shanghai. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all from us here this evening. Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. But for Puzant and Cook in that championship battle, their lead is down to 4 points. That is the margin. That is the fine margins. Separate top 2 in this division, the top 2 in the drivers' standings. And will Cook be able to hang on? And will he revitalise his form next time out in Abu Dhabi? All will be revealed next time out at 8 PM UK time, 9 PM European time. Thank you all very much for watching. We'll see you in the Middle East for the final 3 rounds. The back end of the season, crunch time is really starting to begin. Stay safe, stay well. See you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.